Hello everyone and welcome to Insider's Guide. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. For those of you who are new, on this channel I primarily do Insider's Guides to ski resorts. However, today we are trying something new to continue making content over the summer. So with that, let's begin an Insider's Guide to State Parks, Mueller. Mueller, located just an hour west of Colorado Springs, lies in the shadow of Pikes Peak. It is close to the historic mining town of Cripple Creek and is also a good access point to the backside of Pikes Peak. Its primary activities are camping, hiking, and mountain biking, but it also offers cross-country skiing and snowshoeing in the winter. There is very little fishing and no water sports. If you're looking for those in the same region, I would highly recommend heading to 11 Mile, which we'll discuss in one of the following installments of this series. One of Mueller's greatest strengths is its well-developed facilities. Mueller is great for RVs of all sizes and offers plenty for kids to do, which are two things that cannot be said for quite a few of Colorado's other state parks. Mueller's Revenuers Ridge Campground offers plenty of electric hookup RV sites, although they do not have water or sewage hookups. As far as oddly specific accommodations go, there are 3 cabins for rent and a pair of campsites where you can camp with your horse. There's a playground for the kids right outside of the Camper Services building, and an amphitheater right there as well, where there are educational ranger-led programs most nights during the peak of the summer season. The whole of the campground is located on a ridge, so quite a few of the campsites offer spectacular views of the surrounding forest and foothills. Now, let's talk a little bit about trails. This is more so my specialty with skiing, so what I will say for this is that if you're unsure of what the best hike or bike trip would be for you, the rangers are always super helpful and willing to make recommendations, so I would highly suggest asking them. I just mentioned how pretty much the entire campground is up on a ridge. As such, nearly every single trail starts by descending and ends with an ascent. I find it quite annoying, as I would rather ascend first, but unfortunately it's just what you have to accept when you hike or bike Mueller. The one major exception to this is trail number 16, to the Grouse Mountain Overlook. This is a moderate-level, short hiking trail that brings you up to a really scenic spot. It's a great trail to go up with kids and have a picnic at the top before descending back towards the campground and other trails. Dynamite Cabin, number 32, is another really nice short hike, just meandering through the forest, so 16 and 32 together is never a bad combination. To the north and east, the trails start to go out into the open, and at least for me, this area near Cheeseman Ranch is quite boring. There is a really big ascent just behind Cheeseman Ranch in this direction, a big descent in the other direction, so be prepared for that if you are taking 17. Although I haven't been able to factually verify this, I do believe that 17 runs along an old narrow gauge railroad bed through this stretch here that parallels the highway. If you come back up these 30s trails, or 17 on either side, you can expect a long, slow ascent. If you come up 18 or 19 down here, you can expect a much quicker but steeper ascent. Pick your poison. Over on the other side, from that same Grouse Mountain trailhead, you can take number 12, which I like for hiking, but not as much for biking. For whatever reason, 12 seems to get way less usage than the other trails from that trailhead, so it's a nice quiet hike or bike through a hidden meadow. It does have a pretty big ascent and descent at each end. Over on the west side here are a bunch of nice trails through the forest. Hiking out to the end of 28 and having a picnic is an absolute must. The views are absolutely spectacular, and very few people head out that direction. As you can tell by the contours here, 14 is very steep for quite a bit of time, as it descends into one of the many valleys of Dome Rock. 14 and 13 both offer access to the Dome Rock State Wildlife Area if you get bored of Mueller, but I find that generally Mueller offers plenty to keep everyone interested. The most popular trails in the park are the ones closest to the campground. If you're planning on hiking trail number 1, I would highly recommend hiking it from north to south, starting from this Black Bear trailhead. The descent into the valley along this stretch is incredibly tranquil, and the small valley in here without any bikes or horses going through offers a great opportunity to see wildlife. Trails number 11 and 12 both have massive ascents on these stretches where they turn to the north. Those hills are way bigger than they appear on the contours. Gear Pond is very exposed and out in the open, while Lost Pond is a bit more secluded, so when taking a break, I prefer Lost Pond. Down on the south end of the park, you can see that the terrain gets much more rugged and steep. Thus, most of these trails down here are much more difficult than the ones on the north and west sides. Of course, that means more prevalent and even more beautiful of views down on these trails. The end of trails 8, 9, and 10 all fit this criteria, and I would highly recommend checking out at least one. A loop that I enjoy hiking is taking 7 along the ridge, hiking out and back on each of the 3 overlook trails, and then descending to Lost Pond here before making the final climb back up 11 and the final stretch along 1 right here to get back to the start. That full loop is a little over 4 miles. All of these trails down here are more challenging for more experienced bikers. A good challenging biking route I like to do is to start at the School Pond trailhead, take 21 east, and then keep following all of these trails along the south boundary here, all the way around and up to Rock Pond and Brook Pond. From there, you can backtrack and take either of these back up to the road. It's a decently long and relatively difficult ride, but it's quite tranquil and scenic in return. Hiking out to Rock and Brook Ponds on this trail number 15 is popular for a reason. While you may or may not encounter many other people, you are sure to be immersed solely in the sights and sounds of the natural beauty of Colorado wilderness. 2 of the most popular spots to take little kids in Mueller are Peakview Pond and Dragonfly Pond. Do be cautious of spending too much time at either, however, especially the latter, as both have very high mosquito populations. It was so bad one year that this southern pond will forever be known as Mosquito Pond to me. I would recommend the short trail segments around the visitor center instead. Mueller is absolutely beautiful. It offers plenty of opportunities to encounter wildlife. I personally have encountered bears, a mountain lion, turkeys, deer, elk, and a plethora of other animals. It offers so many different landscapes to hike, bike, or ride through. Mueller offers everything from abandoned cabins to open prairie to canyons to ponds to heavy forest to flower-filled meadows and everything else in between, and as such is one of my favorite places to visit during the summer and fall seasons. I would highly recommend going if you ever get the chance. That about wraps it up for Mueller. If you enjoyed this or found it helpful, please like the video or comment so that I know to keep making these for other state and national parks. As always, please leave any questions down below. Thank you all so much for watching. All my love, I'm out.